What's going on, everybody? It's another edition of the NRW Checkpoint with myself, WebsterStyle. Of course, I'm always joined by my partner in crime, Brian Sapph. Brian, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing all right. Another day. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. I've been in outer space before we started here today. We'll get to that. So it's another week, and there's some heavy hitters that are dropping this week, or that are currently dropped. One of which I want to talk to you about, Brian, because fanboys had their panties in a bunch about this one, boy. I don't get it, but we'll get to that. So first up this week is Chants of Sennaar. Chants, not chance. Of Sennaar on the PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. And obviously, it's going to be backwards compatible with PS5 as well as the Xbox Series systems. It is an adventure game from Rundisk as the developer and Focus Entertainment as the publisher. Chants of Sennaar is a puzzle platformer. The game is based on the myth of Babel and seeks to take the traveler on a journey of exploration to bring balance and understanding back to the people who inhabit the tower. The game involves exploring a cel-shaded world to decipher the glyphic-based puzzles and build your knowledge of its language. The game also features a strong narrative inspired by the myth of Babel. Now, that sounds interesting.
It does.
And we are watching the trailer for that one, the whole Tower of Babel story. It's, as far as the Bible is concerned, how we got all of our different languages and whatnot, because they tried to build a tower to reach God, and as punishment, he struck down and made all of them speak different languages, which is the story of how there's so many different languages in the world, So that's interesting.
I don't necessarily feel like God would do such a thing, but what I'm saying, I wasn't around back then, so I don't know.
Right. That's a whole nother podcast.
right. But this story sounds interesting. I like when games take stories that have been like ingrained in certain cultures or ideologies, and they put a little twist on them to make them worthy of playing on a video game. So I'm interested to see what that's talking about.
I agree totally. Next up is Rune Factory 3 for the Switch. Is an RPG from developer Marvelous Entertainment, or Marvelous Games, and developer, or I should say publisher, XC. Say it again.
Oh, no, I'm okay. You good. Go ahead.
In Rune Factory 3, the story begins with a character, Mishan, who has lost his memory. Don't they always lose their memory in these RPGs?
Which I'm like, we figured out a different storyline.
I know, right? Can we get another plot device, please?
Yeah, please.
Showing up in a small town, he is greeted by a girl, Shara, and is tasked with raising the town's farm. There are multiple avenues to make money, such as growing crops, fishing, and foraging. So I was like, wait a minute, why is there like a Rune Factory 3? Like, I've never heard of this series. Well, apparently this was originally launched on the DS back in 2009.
Oh, wow.
And it's part of the Harvest Moon series.
So that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. But I still don't. Okay. So what made them decide to, whatever.
They're putting it on the Switch and trying to grab that money.
Yeah, I understand that. But like Harvest Moon got games. So what made them decide to branch off and do this Rune Factory? Like,
I don't know. That's a good question. But
now I'm interested in understanding what the differences are between the two.
Right. But we're not watching the trailer for that one, unfortunately, in this case.
Okay.
Next up, we have the most controversial game of the week. And that is Starfield on the Xbox Series systems as well as PC, and of course is on Game Pass. An RPG from Bethesda. Starfield is an action role-playing video game. Players can switch between first or third-person perspective at any time in the game. Starfield features an open world in the form of an area within the Milky Way galaxy containing both fictional and non-fictional planetary systems, with players being able to land on more than 1,000 planets and an unspecified number of moons and space stations. Starfield is set in an area that extends outward from the solar system for approximately 50 light years, called the settled systems. Around the year 2310, the two largest factions in the game, the United Colonies and the Freestar Collective, engaged in a conflict called the Colony War. The game takes place 20 years after the war, with the major factions enjoying an uneasy peace. Now, we are watching trailer film. Now, Brian, I'm not sure if you've been up on the gaming media in the past week, because Starfield dropped early access last week. So if you ponied up $100 for the collector's edition on PC, or you could pay an extra $35 to get early access if you're doing it through Game Pass. So Microsoft, but they ain't stupid in that one. So a lot of people have been playing it and excited about it. And again, I think we talked before, and I said this is a game I wasn't excited about, but I've consistently been getting more excited about this game. And let me tell you how I didn't realize how widespread it was until one of the baristas at Starbucks I go to every morning. I talked about, about playing some video games when I went this weekend. He's like, "Oh, you're going to play Starfield?" And this is, grown man. Okay.
Right.
I was like, "Nah," and I'm going to wait till Game Pass. Like, I should have done that, but I paid for it. I've been playing. It's been really good. Like, I'm getting this from my barista at Starbucks. Okay. That says a whole lot about the appeal of this game. But I'll say that, and I don't want to diverge too much. And I want to get your opinion on it. So the hate online has been ridiculous.
It usually tends to be.
And even so more ridiculous where this is one of those times, and again, I'm not saying this is a great game, excellent game, but I'm watching the reviews come out. I'm watching these YouTubers who do gaming talk about it, and most positives. But and this is any game, you always have outliers, but we talk about, especially in science and math, a variance, statistical variance. Okay.
Right.
You perform a trial 100 times and you get, 90% outcome 98% of the times, and 2 times you get, a 65% outcome.
Right.
Well, you go with the majority. You go with, okay, because obviously something happened in those statistical, that's, not statistically, I forget, not viable, significant, not statistically significant. Okay. That's what it's called when we're doing scientific experiments. Okay. So to have an IGN or a couple other people give this game a 7 when literally everybody else is giving like 8s, 9s, and 10s. Again, not saying that's what it is. Right. But you look at the overall landscape of reviews, you can't help but question what's going on here.
I mean,
and I'm not saying there's a bias per se.
Right.
But what I did was I looked at these reviews this week.
Okay.
I looked at the commentary and I started asking questions in general. How unbiased are gaming reviews in today's age?
That's a big question.
Because everyone has their preferences.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I think this way. I think if you're a game reviewer, you should not be advocating, unless you're like, okay, I forget the dude that does the Xbox Unlocked podcast on IGN.
Okay.
He does the Xbox podcast for IGN.
Right.
I expect some sort of, not Xbox favorites, but I expect a heavier content of Xbox related things from his social medias. Okay.
Right.
But if you're just a reviewer, I don't expect too much bias here or there. That's just me personally.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. One of the things about my day job and things that I've done is we've had to get reviewers for grants, proposals, things of that nature, right? We wanted to make sure there wasn't any sort of error of bias in the review process.
Okay.
So even if the applicant wasn't from the same company or institution, we made sure somebody from the same state wasn't on their review panel.
Right.
Just to have no sort of inherent bias.
Mm-hmm.
So I find it interesting that we have these conversations and those individuals who did score this game low, there seems to be, through their own words and deeds online, they could be perceived as an inherent bias, especially toward this game.
Yeah.
So as a company, I say, okay, this person comes across a certain way online. Is that the best person to review this game to give the perception of a fair and unbiased review? I think that gaming companies need to really look at that.
Mm-hmm.
And save themselves a lot of heartache. Of course, IGN is not. They've made some major goofs to make themselves look biased against Xbox, and we ain't talking about reviews in the past couple of months, but that doesn't help them. But I find it interesting that conversation has come up, and I think that overall, it's time for a real evaluation of gaming media in general and what that really means. Because, and I'll say this, I've talked to you about it as well. And I will get to Starfield because I'm kind of going on a tangent. My apologies.
No, you good.
But we talk, and I'm very much have Xbox, you have a PlayStation, but we're gamers and we like games regardless of what system is on, and we can appreciate games regardless of what system is on. But we both have game genres that we like and game genres that we don't like.
Right.
I don't understand why you put somebody with someone who doesn't necessarily like the Bethesda style RPG, the Western RPG, because I will say this, I've never played Skyrim. I've never played any sort of Morrowind games. I've never played Fallout. Those have not been games that have appealed to me, that I'm like, oh, I need to play this. I'm saying I wouldn't like them, but just never picked them up.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but there's some people who just don't like those games.
Mm-hmm.
Those people shouldn't be reviewing these games. Those people should not be. If you are more akin to a God of War style game or Ghost of Tsushima style games, those sort of games are more your wheelhouse, then that's what you should review. Because I think you can give a critical analysis based on what you are, quote unquote, an expert in as far as a certain type of game. Starfield, I am literally maybe an hour in and 2 hours in at this point in time as of playing. I was really playing before we got on to record. I am already sucked in to this game.
That's good. And
I will say this, the Xbox Cloud Play had been some crap lately. They must have got all their Series X's firing for this game, because I got on perfectly and I've not had a drop in the 2 hours I was playing. So I'm impressed. I'm impressed with this game. I understand why there was a hype. I don't understand why the hate, and especially the nitpickiness at, again, thinking of the 7s that were given, the nitpickiness, because I watched the IGN review was like the first review I watched.
Yeah.
And when I watched it and I saw what his criticisms were, I'm thinking, you're really taking this game down from a 7 because of inventory management. The map system's not that great, and something else. I'm thinking the game's about immersiveness and space travel and getting lost. And this is really why you knocked it down to a 7?
Yeah.
It's like those Amazon reviews, or, you see a review of a product and it's like a 1. And it's like, yeah, the
box
box
the wrong size.
Yeah, it's like the box was messed up when I got it. I'm thinking, what the product?
Right, exactly.
Okay, that's the outer wrapping. So even the goalpost moving, say it was one reviewer or one internet guy, he talked crap about the game. And this is something when you do things online, it's recorded. You put it up there. People go back. He talked about it in a live show. Like, it'll get like a 70 and blah, 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 blah. And this is somebody I didn't expect to really trash. And I've liked him. I don't know if I've not liked this content lately, but then when it got a Metascore of 86, it's like, this is exactly what I said it was going to be, and it's mediocre. I'm thinking, when is an 86 or 88 mediocre? I'm like, all of those Sony games, Ghost of Tsushima, all those around Horizon Zero Dawn, they're all like 85, 86, 83.
Right.
You can't say it's mediocre and not say these other games that have the same sort of Metacritic score are mediocre. So I think overall, this game this week really just showed a weakness in an unbiased game review. And we've had issues about that before, but I think this week I was like, man, y'all serious? Look, it's a video game. It ain't that serious. Why are you going so hard?
Right. There was another game that received the same amount of, I can't think of it right now, but I noticed as, how do I phrase this? I notice as as gaming media continues to evolve, we do start to see more biases within the content, especially centered around reviews. I do feel like that has a lot to do with this, console war thing or whatever the case might be, and how people feel about the things PlayStation is doing versus the things that Xbox is doing. But I also just honestly feel like it's more so the people specifically, because I don't know, for example, you mentioned the guy that did the IGN review. He does the Xbox podcast over there. Clearly, there's a bias there because, Bethesda's owned by PlayStation Studios, right?
No.
Am I missing the wrong one? Which one?
That's
Bungie. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the guy who did the review was a totally different guy. I just use the Xbox guy as a kind of an example of like what I expect from his feed. Not so much a biased feed, but I expect more Xbox stuff because what he did. The dude that did the review for IGN, they're classifying him as a sort of a Sony guy, especially. He made very inflammatory comments on his Twitter about the ABK Microsoft deal. He was very upset when Microsoft bought Bethesda as well.
Right.
He's very much a God of War fan. But I'm okay. Again, if I'm a company and I want a fair, unbiased review, I am not putting on any reviewer who made public comments about the acquisition of a company, and this is the game from that company under this acquisition.
Right.
I feel like there's an inherent bias there.
And I agree. And from a business standpoint, based around some kind of morality and you trying to actually make money doing what you're doing, that makes sense. Stay as biased as possible. Don't do anything to piss off one side or the other, so you can continue to generate some kind of relationship with these companies that, they could feel like they could trust you to give a review that is not biased. But on the other hand, like I was saying, media has taken a turn to where we're getting away from people wanting to walk a fine line to where people are actually wanting to be on either side of the other just for the sake of riling up that specific base of individuals that like to participate in that kind of discourse. Now, that's not everybody. And I feel like a lot of people, at least, well, I ain't gonna say. I feel like most people understand that is where media is going, especially the more and more social media gets integrated into like actual media and news. I feel like people want to have somebody that's gonna be, stirring the pot and saying all of these, having all of these crazy like left of center takes about things, just to make it feel like somebody's actually speaking for the people and saying things that other actual gamers are thinking. But at the end of the day, it's all weird. And at the same time, there's a section, like, for example, you and I who work every day and can afford to go out and buy these games, don't have to wait to holidays and birthdays or whatever to be gifted these things. We're the ones that are actually going to sit and be like, you know what? let me get a second or a third opinion, because a 7 over here and a 9 over here, that's
Right.
still the right side of the scale, but it's still a big enough gap to be like somebody is off on some.
Exactly. Somebody's off. Right.
Right. So I don't know. I really think all of that kind of chatter and that kind of like discourse, that's literally for the people who who can't afford to get these games like that on day one. It's just that, because you think about it, you step back away from gaming specifically, you see this kind of commentary and like comments on social media posts just about any old random thing. There's always going to be people in there that are saying the most outlandish things and doing and saying all of these crazy things just for the attention. And I feel like, especially with the way IGN, you know, brings in revenue, with YouTube being a large source of their income or whatever, or a significant source, I'm pretty sure at some point they hired people who are like, well, you know, being unbiased is cool or whatever, but you'll get more clicks and views and generate more money if you are starkly on one side, which that don't really serve the gamers anything, you know, any kind of that don't really serve us in the grand scheme of things as far as trying to actually understand what the fuck we trying to play. But at the same time, it's just plenty of engagement, it's plenty of likes. And I don't think where we're going right now, I don't think people necessarily understand that just because people are interacting with your content does not necessarily mean it's translating into actual physical dollars.
Right.
So we're going to have a lot of that. We're going to have a lot of people just in these spaces. They've worked their way into companies that do have a reputation for being, you know, known for these things or whatever. We're going to have a lot of people just over there, you know, just trying to cause a ruckus, thinking that their way of doing things is going to bring in people, which at the end of the day, you'll see. Like, I'm pretty sure, well, I don't know what IGN's game plan is, but most companies not going for that. A lot of people want to stay neutral and get as much, you know, from every side as they possibly can. Yeah. I mean, so we'll see, but you know, that's just a thing. That's just like TMZ or whatever. They always report in the most.
That's the saddest thing. I mean, that's the saddest. You make a perfect point. It's like TMZ and it's clickbait.
Yeah.
And IGN is one of those places where I've always gone to for a real game review.
Right, a respectable opinion.
Yes, I respect. Like, there are some guys and some outlets that I go to, like, I kind of know they're slanted and I don't care because I like the entertainment value of it. Mm-hmm. But IGN is somewhere I go for like a real review, and some other people I go to for a real honest review.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. A lot of this is becoming clickbaity. A lot of this is just becoming sensationalized. And I'm like, look, people who are going to be watching this are gamers anyway. You don't need to sensationalize it to get us to watch your review.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Incredible reviews. You're entertaining, and that's it. So, but yeah, I think Starfield hopefully is going to start having the gaming public ask a lot of questions, personally speaking. But overall, like I said, this game, I've been enjoying this game. The 2 hours I've been in, it's massive. Reviewers are like, yeah, I did 8 hours, and there's still so much that I'm still getting the handle of, and I haven't done yet, and I'm not even halfway finished the main. So it's a lot there. It's space, man. It is definitely is exactly what I wanted this game to be.
Okay,
and I think that's why some of the other games that Bethesda's put out, like Nuclear Holocaust, never really appealed to me.
Nuclear Holocaust,
Fallout series, you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Say what?
And even Skyrim. I like sword and sorcery, D&D.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really a gameplay of those games like that. So that's why Skyrim and those things never really appealed to me. I'm a sci-fi guy through and through. And I think this is why the more I saw of this game, the more it built up, the more I said, this is a game I want to play. I want to see what that Bethesda hype is like. I want to see what Starfield hype is like. And like I said, I am 2 hours in and I'm enjoying every moment. It's slow, but it's building a story.
Okay.
It's
Well, I'm
building a story.
definitely excited myself. I keep like just like you, I wasn't really paying attention to it until the fanfare started building up towards the release. Now I'm like, I'm really interested to see what this game's talking about. I want to understand like what everybody is so hype about. And if it'll be a game that I'm actually like interested in, playing for the long haul. So I don't know. I guess we'll see. I just speaking back to what you were saying earlier, I have noticed that as well. And bottom line, it's clickbait. But
Yeah.
some people it's okay because they're like, at least they're talking about the game. And other people it's like, okay, well, you're not being necessarily truthful about what it is, just or you're nitpicking and you bringing up things that obviously can be fixed with a simple patch later on down the line. It's the early build of the game. Like,
Right.
I get what you're saying though, and it is annoying. I just feel like, yeah, people are taking advantage of the fact that people like to be at odds to one another and have something to argue about, and they making content towards it. You can go on YouTube right now, and there's probably like 10 videos why you shouldn't buy Starfield just yet, and all this other stuff.
Right, exactly.
It's like, why you want to point out the negatives? Is the game good or not? Like, I don't care about
exactly.
if you're like, oh, it's not running at 60 frame rates per second. I don't care about that. Like, do I want my game to be chopping every time I walk? No. But if it's not doing that, then it's not doing that.
Exactly.
But
exactly.
It is what it
is. Well, let's get in. We got 2 more games, and we can get in the trailer. And of course, we're watching the trailer for Starfield. So next up, we have Faith Farm, not Faith Farm.
Another farm game.
Yeah, another farm game, right? But this one actually is a simulation. This is on a PC and a Switch. It is from Phoenix Labs. Escape to the fairy tale life of your dreams in Faith Farm, a farm sim RPG for 1 to 4 players. Craft, cultivate, and decorate to grow your shared homestead and use spells to explore the enchanted land of Azoria. You'll forge new bonds with residents, discover Fey magic, and trek across the island. Okay. We're not watching the trailer for that one, but again, you know what though? And the Switch reminds me of the PS2.
Okay.
In that, since that's like the console with 100,000, 100 million sold, everybody just puts everything they possibly can on it. Because you remember PlayStation 2 era, there was just literally so many little, especially RPG stuff, but like simulation this, RPG that, like so many games you never heard of that ended up on the PS2 because it was such a dominant system seller.
Right.
And the Switch, because like every week we're seeing these games that we have never heard of before, but it's on the Switch. Nowhere else but the Switch, because the Switch is 100 plus million units sold so far, and
yeah,
this is what it is. I
think Nintendo cutting good deals over there. It got to be that, because we know they rarely put games on sale. So I just think they're enticing to these companies because they're like straightforward, like put it over here, it's gonna be $40 until you decide to take it off. I think
like what? I was in Best Buy the other day, and I'm just walking around while I was waiting, and I'm like, why is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe still $60?
God, that's what I'm saying.
Isn't that game 5 years old or whatever it is?
Look, Mario Kart, like, as long as Mario Kart been around, I'd expect, like, come on now, everybody's played that game. Like,
yeah, exactly.
That's a great Nintendo, please.
I think it's like 1 out of 2 or 1 out of 3 Switches sold has Mario Kart attached to it.
I mean,
it's a ridiculous attach rate for that game. I'm like, you're still selling for $60 brand new in the store.
But on the flip side, why would you not?
Yeah,
if I know my game is hot, oh, okay, $60. I might even put it up to $65 just to test the waters, see if I can make a sale.
They got people to pay $70 for the new Zelda, so they already doing it. And again, I don't understand why that game is $10 more outside the fact that people pay for it. But it's economics. Last up is another company that charges ridiculous amounts of money for things, and especially microtransactions for no reason.
It's getting worse.
NBA season is right around the corner, which means another game. Didn't we just have Madden like 2 weeks ago come out?
Listen, it's sports season, so 2K they out there. Yeah.
Well,
they know this their time to run free commercials.
Right. It's NBA 2K24. You know what it is. Sports game, Visual Concepts is developer, publishes 2K games. It's NBA 2K. But let me tell you, this is the crazy part, right? So I'm online looking through the deals for the week on Xbox.
Okay.
Why 2K still selling? This is as of 2 days ago now. Yeah, because it was Monday. Why they still selling 2K23 for $59.99?
You know why?
I was like,
greed, capitalism.
Yo, I bought 2K23 a couple weeks ago just because of the $1.50 in GameStop.
Wow.
It literally it fell out. It was back here when I was cleaning up in this guest room the other day. I was like, oh yeah, I bought this. That's right. I haven't even played it yet. It was $1.50. That's the only reason I bought it.
You know what's crazy? It was one of the PlayStation Plus games for August, meaning you could just get it for free now. Yeah, but
that's what you should get.
Past it. I had to let it go. I didn't want that. I want that clogging up my limited storage on this PlayStation 5.
I think I bought 2K21 or 20, whatever it is, a couple years back because it was like $3.99. So that's like part of my Xbox library. It was $3.99. Okay, whatever. But my point is NBA. If you want to play an NBA game, this is the only one you got. Not because of exclusivity, because EA gave up.
Yeah, exactly. Make NBA games great again. I guess I can't really say games because it's only one.
There's only one.
But come on now.
I don't think anybody hates on 2K as far as gameplay. I think they hate on a microtransaction, a nickel and diamond.
And that made me hate the gameplay. Because why do I have to pay you so that I can have a fair shot at beating somebody else? Like, if I'm good at the game, I'm good at the game. It shouldn't be like, oh, this person got the Opal pack and all of their characters from 95. He got the 95 fucking Bulls and the Michael Jordan before he caught the flu. Like, I should just be able to load up the game. And if my sticks are better than yours, you lose.
Exactly.
But it's not like that. These people are literally paying for enhancements and upgrades that make the game almost impossible to play if you don't want to add in a couple dollars and boost your stats. Well, it's like, who want to play a game like that? But
nobody.
Here we are once again, and it's going to sell out because somebody's favorite character or favorite basketball player is on the digital cover that you're not going to be able to physically I don't get
is Kobe on the cover this year? I forget.
I'm not sure. I wouldn't be surprised.
We're watching the trailers though.
Okay.
All right. So let's get into the trailers. First up is Starfield.
Humanity has always hunted for knowledge in the unknown. The wonder is not that the field of stars is so vast, but that we have measured it.
That's the thing. You haven't fully measured space. That's the intrigue.
Let me tell you, man. You can literally travel. Like, you don't have to do the quick travel. You can literally try to travel from one planet to the next, but it will take you a while. Somebody travels 7 hours.
We're all here because we're committed to the biggest question of all.
7 hours
out there.
People were complaining about, you don't really travel from planet to planet. You do the quick travel thing. I'm like, why are you complaining?
Right.
But this game is. I'm really loving this so much, and I can't wait to see all this in real life.
Part of our family.
Looks incredible.
Yeah, it does.
We do not fully understand all that is.
Another thing with games like this that I noticed with people,
this mystery.
You know, there's always a group of people in the match of collective that, like, I'm just gonna hate this because
Yes.
everybody likes it. I feel like Starfield kind of suffering from that. I mean,
been looking for.
Even though I'm just starting to get into the fanfare of it, I do know the game is heavily anticipated. I think people are just like at odds with the fact that
could be at risk.
it's a game everybody wants to play.
We are not stopping. Whatever lies at the end of this road will change humanity forever. This is where we belong.
Fire.
All right, so let me tell you this. So I guess it's the first planet after you get a ship or whatnot. I land, right? So I get off the ship and you have the creatures and I'm fighting the creatures. My robot is taking them out. Like I run out of ammo. I'm like, let me run back on my ship real quick, right? Try to find some ammo. I turn around. Why does ran up on the ramp and speared me, one of the creatures we were fighting? I was like, what the?
That's why you turn your back on me.
How you on my ship?
Turn your back.
Like this ain't safe. What's going on here?
Nope, ain't no safe. We in space. This ain't the laws of Earth. You turn your back, you get a spear.
Right. So he got me good. As I was trying to find some ammo, but yeah, you're right. Some people just hate to be hating, and I don't get it. But this is another thing I'm nitpicky about this one, right? So you see the faces in the game, and a lot of people like, well, they kind of like dead in the eyes and they're on expressionful and they look at this game and I'm like, first of all, these are two different damn games.
Right.
These are the scopes of these two, like, because one of the things a lot of people talked about compared, like the haters, compared it to Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate ain't the same game as Starfield.
It's not.
Like, that's not even from the scope, from the like, none of it's the same. I mean, that's why I say with gaming, I think you really have to sit back and critique games within their, like with their contemporaries. Baldur's Gate and Starfield, Baldur's Gate 3 and Starfield are both RPGs, but they are not the same sort of RPG. Like, just like I wouldn't equate or compare Baldur's Gate to Diablo 4.
Right.
They're the same genre, but they're not the same to where you can give an adequate comparison. Like saying this does this with this, like they aren't the same thing. Right. So I don't understand that.
Me either. And I feel like people ought to stop doing that. Yeah. Because once you continue to do stuff like that, then that makes these developers make games that are carbon copies of games that are quote unquote popular. Like how long did we have to sit through reincarnations of what's the game? Grand Theft Auto before we got some new style of like shooter that's similar to the game but different. I just don't. I don't know. People weird.
I'll say this, and this is not even knock Sony, but how many times can we get a first party, third person over the shoulder narrative game from Sony?
Right.
They're and again, I'm not saying they're not good, but they are sticking to one formula as far as how to do their first party games. Right. Ghost of Tsushima, Horizon Zero Dawn, even Spider-Man, as good as it is, they all stick to the same sort of formula with regards to gameplay. Where's the innovation? Where is, the deviation from the norm? Where is taking a risk with gaming? And I think in many respects, and this is where I think Starfield really exemplifies, is not saying they're taking risk, but I feel like there's less and less risk taking in gaming. Period.
Yeah. I don't think the developers are as inspired as they probably once were, especially when in this time we coming off of, like, I don't know. I feel like the time of the first person shooter battle royale style game is starting to come to an end, and now we're starting to see games that actually have differences in depth.
Right.
But when you have to sit through that and try to be creative at the same time, I feel like they start looking at each other and be like, oh, okay, well, I like what you're doing over here with this game. I'm gonna try to implement that into my game.
Right.
Because if I'm not mistaken, isn't the expansion for the DLC for what's the game? I just had it and I lost it. There's a DLC coming out for like the Bungie game. What's Bungie's big game? You know it.
Marathon. I want to think Marathon. Why am I blanking on their game?
Me too. It'll come to me. But
God, I'm thinking of everything but that game.
right. Now I'm stuck on it.
Yeah, for real.
I feel like, I don't know, the developers are like naturally just doing that, like pitting themselves against each other in a way that's making it be like, oh, compare this game to this game and da-da-da. It's like, we get situations like this, like where's the originality? Where's the stark differences? I don't want to have to compare all the time. I don't want, we got a bunch of what's the games? We got a bunch of Smash Brother,
Destiny.
There you go. Like,
yeah.
Isn't that DLC coming out this week as well?
I have no idea.
I feel like I heard that, if I'm not mistaken. The DLC is supposed to come out the same week as Starfield, and everybody was like, oh, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, still, those are two different games. I can understand why people would be comparing them. Space, guns, cool. But at the end of the day, like, the more and more you do that, it's just going to entice people to be like, okay, well, I see that they like what we did on Starfield, or I see that they like what this company did with Starfield. Let's see if we can make our own magic. And it's just like,
and I'm fine with that. I am fine with something of that nature, because with this RPG genre, there's so much room for expansion. I think you really
definitely
have sort of a cut and paste with, say, like a third person action game. And we've seen that. Even you talk about the developers, a lot of times publishers were afraid to do risky things. I was just listening to something the other day about the Saints Row reboot, and a lot of changes were made in that game from the story perspective because of the publisher, not the developer. Developer wanted to make it more like Saints Row 2, and the publisher wanted to play it safe because they felt like it had more mass market appeal, and we saw what happened with that.
Yeah, you can't worry about stuff like that.
Yeah, good game's a good game, and people.
That's what I'm saying. And some of the greatest games ever come out, they are the ones that took risk and were innovative and did something new. Like, we think about Final Fantasy, that literally revolutionized the RPG world. Like, you just gotta take it. And that's another thing. I feel like games or publishers and everybody involved in the game industry, they had such a rush to just get games out and make money, that they're not really giving people enough time to be creative and think outside of the box and use their imagination to create something completely new. Like, if you think about it, most of these games, they come from larger licenses. Like, Spider-Man is already set. Like, that's a world that's already set. You just pulling from it and using what you pull from it to create a game from it. It's not often we get games like Starfield where it's like, this is completely new and you've never seen this character before. You've never seen this art design before. Like, I don't know. I think the money aspect is tarnishing a lot, but
yeah,
that's capitalism at its finest.
I agree. I agree. Well, speaking of something new, let's check out our next trailer for Chants of Sennaar.
Chants of Sennaar. Discuss. Oh yeah. Run disc. Yeah, I like this because it's simple, but it's still well designed. Got like 5 colors on the screen, but it's like,
reminds me of it reminds me of something like some sort of artwork that I've seen before. It looks really cool though.
what's the little yellow thing that be, is it Q? Start with a Q, I believe. When he be jumping on the block.
Oh, Cubert?
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of a little bit. But yeah, I still, the art style looks amazing though.
Yeah,
I like minimalistic stuff like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes it makes for really, really good art. Like, especially with the angle, that camera angle that they're using, you don't need too much color and things clouding up the view of the actual player, like trying to play the game. So I don't know, I like that.
I like it as well. And last but not least, we have the 25th game in the series, NBA 2K24.
You know, I really can't wait for the fall of I can't wait for the fall of 2K. Not because I don't like the game. The game is what it is. I'm indifferent to it. I don't feel any kind of negativity or positivity towards it. I really can't wait to see like a new NBA game come out and see if 2K can like really stand the pressure of having a new game that's like really good. That do look great. Graphics here.
I mean, it does. Look, I never knocked them as far as gameplay. Visual Concepts have been doing this since 1998, okay? Right. Or 99, whenever they started developing the first NBA 2K. So, I mean, they've been doing this for a very, very long time. Ball spot.
Right.
Oh, see?
What?
League
what
pass.
Was that ring? Yeah.
Can we talk about it though? And okay, so I feel old because we're NBA 2K24, and I remember when my Dreamcast playing NBA 2K religiously. That's what we did.
Right.
I find it amazing that we're at this point where we went from so many basketball games. I'm even thinking back to where we had Live, we had the Showtime series that Sony did. I forget what they renamed it after that. And then 2K came out. 2K became multi-platform. So we had all three of those. I feel like there was a fourth in there somewhere. And Live was dominant. Live was synonymous with basketball games. And Visual Concepts just put out a really good product, and Live just faltered and put out some crap. And then they stopped and tried to get back in. I think the last one was what, 2018, if I remember correctly, or something like that. I don't know. It's been a while. It's been a few years since they put out a Live.
Right.
I say very rarely do you have a sports series that comes out from behind and it actually becomes better and kills off everything else. Unlike Madden, and EA was just bought the license because 2K was killing them.
Yeah.
2K5, for whichever one it was, which was literally the only football game I've ever purchased new. Ever. I've never bought a Madden because I've never everybody had Madden, so why did I have to buy it?
Right.
But never, like, it was just a better product. And then EA's like, oh no, we're just gonna buy the license for whatever. 2K killed everybody. It literally killed everybody. I can't hate that, but it does leave them in a position now to where 2K can do all that BS.
Mm-hmm.
And it's bad. It's hard to like root for them, but then not root for them because they did what they're supposed to do. They put out a quality product and they knocked out all the competition. But now all the competition is gone. Do they really innovate every year?
I don't.
They don't have any competition to really go up against.
Right.
And that's the saddest part about it. Like, I want to see other basketball games. I want to see 2K being pushed to make a better product every year instead of just a minor upgrades and then a roster update.
Right. I think it'll be a long time, if at all, if that happens, because I think about the people that play 2K. Mm-hmm. They don't necessarily want another option. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like when you compare the iPhone and the Android. Like, people like the iPhone because it's simple. It's not very much customization there versus Android. People love to be able to do all kind of things with their phone and their screen and stuff. I don't think 2K players want another game that they have to learn, be good at, put money into, give time and attention to. I think they really like that. It's just like, okay, this is the same game. It's very simple. I understand what I do as soon as I log in, as soon as I open the package. There's no learning curve here because I've been playing this game for the past 20 years. I'm fine with that. I don't know. But as a gamer who is a little bit more, versatile, to me, that's boring to keep playing the same game over and over. But then we see all of these games who do that. Call of Duty, Madden, not FIFA anymore, whatever they call it, the soccer
club. Football club, yeah. I will say this. I understand what you're saying, but I will have to disagree with you in that statement as far as they not want to play anything else, but they know. Because I guarantee those are the same arguments people made when 2K went to multi-platform and 2K2 or 2K3, whichever one it was. And NBA Live was the dominant basketball game that people have been playing for, at least 5-6 years at that point, because the Live series came out with the advent of the PlayStation series, if I remember correctly. Because I think it was still no, the Genesis, because it was like it was versus games, then became live. So people have been playing live since the Genesis. So we're talking about more than 10 years at that point in time.
Was live the one where they were like from downtown? That's
NBA Jams.
NBA Jams.
Yeah. So people probably made the same argument with 2K with multi-platform. People used to live. People aren't going to, switch over. They're used to how this play. They're used to this button configuration. They're used to this, how the presentation is on that. And then year after year, 2K just put out a quality product and chipped away at Live to where Live just gave up the goose.
Yeah.
They misstepped. They got what's the basketball term? They got their ankles broken. They can't recover from 2K.
That's what you was trying to say. Okay. So. Yeah. I can agree with that. I just feel like 2K players are not interested in. Well, I can't say that. I feel like they would be interested in another basketball game, but I don't know. Because from my standpoint, I've stopped playing 2K, but that's literally because that doesn't change how I feel about basketball. I still like basketball. It's just I'm tired of 2K. So I was like, if they put out another game, if NBA Live decide to come back, I'm praying every year for NBA Street to just pop out of the blue and be like, hey, we got a new game. Like I want those games back. Then I would definitely be playing. But I don't know. Something about the way 2K has this like cult following just made me feel like if a new NBA game came out, then yes, people would be interested in playing it. But the people who play 2K all the time, that's not something they're necessarily like seeking out. They like content with just sitting on 2K all the time. Yep. Which
the last money. NBA Live was NBA Live 19.
Okay. And I'm assuming that didn't do well because where's it been?
Look, EA just gave up.
I don't like that.
Which is sad. They gave up. They could have. I don't know how much that license is, but I feel like EA is one of those companies. It should be able to kind of just eat their losses for a little bit to get a quality game out there, because it takes iteration over years, especially when you're stopping, and they were stopping and starting on the NBA Live series like they were in the mid 2010s,
right,
and early 2010s.
Do you know if there's any exclusivity happening with the license for?
No.
Okay, well,
no need. Like I said, no need to. 2K killed everybody.
Yeah,
they don't need to spend that stupid money for exclusive rights.
I don't know. I just feel like EA got a good K. I feel like EA could just come in and be like, hey, we did this basketball thing before, we could do it again. But for whatever reason, it's just like, we'll let 2K do it. Even though, 2K produces a plethora of games. That like NBA 2K is not their only. No. You know what I'm saying? It's their bread and butter, sure.
I feel you. I want EA to come back.
I do too.
Just to have a different product on the market. I can't stand homogeneity in video games, or even just one choice. I hate that going to the store. I hate that with my video games. I like having options as far as what I want to play. That's why I detest Madden, because there are no other options. Well, to me, no other options to play NFL football. There are football games that are available with no other options to play NFL football. With 2K, since I didn't get into basketball games until 2K, I'm biased. Like I played live and whatnot, but I like cut my teeth and loved basketball games because of 2K and playing on my Dreamcast. So I have an inherent bias there. So that's why I'm like, I'm not really tired of 2K, but I would like to see competition. And as far as that is concerned,
I agree with you.
Speaking of competition, Brian,
what's up?
What's going on with you this week?
What is going on? Working on the next episode of the Talk+Play blerdcast. That should be coming. I won't put a time and date on it because,
people work.
There you go. so it should be around soon. What we got? A bunch of stuff happening in the social media world. As far as games are concerned, I beat Marvel's Midnight Suns. So
okay,
I have some of my thoughts and opinions on that, because that would turn out to be a really, really good game. I'm so glad I made that investment because it was worth it. What else? My list of games that I want to purchase is growing. Blah, blah, blah. And then there's a bunch of music that came out that I want to speak with the people about, because I like this season that we get in, where it's, versatility and not so much of the same when it comes to music. So I'm liking that. And then as far as television or TV on the watch list, did I watch? I saw Blue Beetle.
Okay.
I want to give my take on that. That's going to be on the pod. As well as some other stuff. Finished up Shaw's Part 4. That had a good ending. I finished the Castlevania
series.
It's not an anime, series on Netflix. Anime. Okay. Yeah, because there's always been a debate. Like, is it anime or is it not?
It's anime. It's definitely anime. I gotta finish that myself. I've been slacking on a lot of things, but we've talked about that already.
Well, definitely check that out. I had a really good ending, and then they announced, I want to say a month ago, that they're doing another Castlevania.
Yes, I did see that. I'm excited for that as well.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it. Just talking about the regular things I like to blurt out about. What about yourself? What's going on?
I dropped episode 161 of the Sotoringi podcast, An Angel from Heaven. Download is Starfield. So I'm talking about Starfield, my excitement for that. my audio interview with Angel Carmel. She is a fantastic TikTok creator who, you've been around the past couple of years, all these rah relationship podcasts that don't come to any kind of solutions when you talk about things. She has a great demeanor, and her platform offers real conversations, grown folk conversations about relationships and self-healing, and even accountability with her own life and place she had to get more in touch with herself and be more of her feminine self. So it was just a really great conversation with her. And then I went to Notorietta for the fragrance of the week from Maison de Darius, because I know I covered it a long time ago, but I had a friend of mine who got some, and he said basically, I put it on. My wife was all over me. I'll put it that way. so that's what we're talking about this week. Nothing else much has dropped this week. Got some things in the pipe. You'll see either a Game Bites or a mini review on Starfield. Probably by the time this goes up, maybe, depending on how fast I edit video and script.
Right. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's been kind of a slow week and end of the fiscal year as far as the real job is concerned. But so I got things to do.
Understood.
But we are WebsterStyle, Brian Sapph. We're Nerds Rule the World. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, NRW, Instagram at New Release Wednesday, and of course you're currently on YouTube. So make sure you like, share, and subscribe.
Now.